Okay, so let's just dive right in. Have you ever had that feeling where the more you seem to understand about the world, the more you just kind of want to stay home? Most people look at that and they see it as a bad thing. But what if it's not? What if, as psychology suggests, it's actually a pretty sophisticated strategy?
And this right here illustrates that disconnect perfectly. On one side, you've got the standard judgment. You're being antisocial, you're shy, maybe you're even depressed. But then on the other side, you've got the psychological reality. This could very well be a high IQ strategy in action. It's a way of protecting your mental energy, your focus. You could even call it your cognitive rhythm.
So, the whole point we're digging into today is this. That need you feel for space, it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's a signal that your mind is working on a deeper, way more complex level than most of the people around you.
Now, to really get this, we first have to look at what's going on inside. I want you to think of your mind as this internal factory. And these next few signs, they're basically alerts that your factory is in full-on production mode, especially when you're alone.
Okay, so the first sign is something we can call mental editing. You know how some people just rush to fill any silence with words? Well, a really active mind often does the exact opposite. It pauses, and that silence is an empty space. It's an active process. You're filtering, you're refining, you're getting your thoughts ready so that when you do speak, your words actually have weight.
And this quote just nails it. It reframes the whole thing as a deliberate choice. It's not that you can't keep up with small talk, it's that you are consciously choosing deep thought over a fast response. And that is a classic hallmark of a really intelligent mind. The second sign is this need for solitude to organize the chaos. Most people are actually terrified of being alone with their thoughts. But for a mind that's constantly taking things in, that quiet time is absolutely essential. It's where you process a world that other people only see on the surface. And it's the only environment where your best, most powerful insights are really born. And here's that factory metaphor again because it's perfect. A real factory can't have its doors open to the public 24/7 and expect to get any serious work done, right? You have to shut the gates, you limit the distractions, and you let the internal machinery just do its thing. That's exactly what your solitude is for. So it's a really good question to ask yourself, when was the last time you consciously shut the gates to your own mental factory? Just to get that crucial internal work done.
Okay, the third sign of all this internal work is running what we'll call internal simulations. Now, to an outsider, this might just look like overthinking, but it's actually a highly strategic process. Your brain is running through future conversations, future scenarios. It's trying to anticipate every possible outcome and spot the flaws before they even have a chance to happen. This whole process is, well, it's a lot like playing mental chess. You're not just thinking about your very next move. You're simulating the entire game in your head. You're spotting weaknesses, you're calculating consequences, and you're planning 10 moves ahead while everyone else is just reacting to what's right in front of them.
So when you're doing all of this deep internal work, it inevitably changes how you see the outside world. And that brings us to our next set of signs, which are all about perceiving the social world in a totally different way. Almost like you're seeing the code behind the simulation. First up, a low tolerance for inauthenticity. As your social perception gets sharper and sharper, you just start to see through all the performances. You can instantly spot the forced laugh, the fake enthusiasm, the attention-seeking drama. And man, once you see it, it becomes physically exhausting to pretend you don't. And this quote, this gets to the absolute heart of it. For you, choosing to be alone isn't about being cold. It's a commitment to honesty. It's you refusing to take part in a social play when you know deep down the emotions are just a performance. Next up is hyper-awareness. This is that ability to pick up on all the tiny microsignals that just fly right over most people's heads. The subtle shift in someone's tone, the flicker of an expression, the hidden intention behind their words. It's a really rare gift, but it also carries a pretty heavy weight. And that's the crucial part right there. When you're constantly analyzing all these hidden layers, social gatherings just aren't relaxing anymore. They become work. Every single interaction requires this intense processing and analysis, which is just incredibly draining. So all of this, the deep processing, the hyper-awareness, it takes a tremendous amount of energy. So our final set of signs is all about how you strategically manage and protect your personal resources.
This slide shows a really fundamental shift in priorities. See, most people are focused on managing their time, trying to cram as much activity as they can into a day. But the high IQ approach? It's about managing your energy. You realize that certain interactions, especially the shallow ones, are just draining your mental battery, that cognitive rhythm we talked about. And so you learn to fiercely protect those peak moments of clarity and focus.
And the final sign is emotional self-reliance. This is the ability to process and regulate your own emotions without constantly needing someone on the outside to tell you it's okay. You learn to solve your problems internally, which is a massive strength. But it can also make it kind of difficult for other people to find a way into your world.
I think this perspective is so important. Your self-reliance might get mistaken for you being closed off or even unlikable. But the truth is, you've just built a world that doesn't need constant outside input. And for people who are used to more codependent relationships, that can be pretty intimidating. So, when we put all these pieces together on the table, what do we actually see? We see that this isn't about some weakness or a flaw. It's all about understanding the true value of your strategic silence. Ultimately, the takeaway here is this. Your mind isn't a burden. It's a high-performance engine, and just like any high-performance engine, it needs very specific conditions to operate at its absolute peak. Your solitude, your boundaries, they're simply the maintenance that this rare gift requires. So let's just quickly recap these 7 powerful strategies of solitude. You've got mental editing, organizing chaos, running those internal simulations, having a low tolerance for inauthenticity, hyper-awareness, managing your energy instead of your time, and finally, emotional self-reliance. These aren't signs of weakness. They are signs of a mind that's hard at work.
And that brings us to our final question for you. As you were listening to all of this, which one of these signs really hit home? Which one made you just go, wow, that's me? I want you to reflect on that because understanding how your mind works is the very first step to harnessing its full potential.